So, hello everybody and welcome! Yes, welcome back here by BSN Network. Today we welcome you back here by BSN Network. It is Friday, May 29th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far. It is another podcast. Last podcast of the week until the weekend, and hopefully everybody had a good rest of their day yesterday and is having a good day today. May 29th, it's almost June, which is always good. That's usually June starts 22nd, whatever near there starts the summer, and then we're into the summer, and that's always nice. The summer is always awesome. I love the summer. You go, if you have a pool, the beach, beaches and stuff, you can do so much stuff in the summer, just hang out with, friends and family, and stuff. Summer's awesome. Summer's my favorite time of year. So it's almost the summer, almost June, which is great, and, it's May 29th. I moved my cup so that you can actually see it more. By the way, this coaster is a Jets coaster right there. If you were interested in that. So that's what I got for just the daily stuff. Today we got to talk about the NBA playoffs / the Nets. The NBA playoffs came out. The GM said most likely the NBA season is going to start in the playoffs. So they released kind of the playoff format, what it could look like. I'm going to talk about that and give my kind of game-by-game predictions of what I think could happen, but it's kind of all up in the air. This is what it probably would look like if they did kind of the style they were thinking. There's multiple ways, though, that they were going to do it, but this is one of the ways they could do it. I'm going to run through that. We got LeBron, Giannis in their MVP race. Let's just say it starts in the playoffs. Let's just say the season, starts in the playoffs, and really who wins the finals, is that really going to help boost them? A lot of people have been talking about it. Who really is the MVP? Is it LeBron or Giannis? It's been up in the air ever since the league shut down. But I want to talk about it now just because, we already got some other basketball stuff like that. And then we got more baseball stuff. Minor league players getting cut. There's multiple minor league teams, hundreds and hundreds of players, from what I've heard, have been getting cut. I'm going to run through that. I don't like what's happening with the MLB right now. You know how I feel about it. Watched the podcast yesterday, watched the podcast from yesterday the 28th, and watched the podcast on the 27th. And you'll understand my frustration with how I feel about the MLB right now. I was talking to somebody earlier today. At this point, it's just so annoying. I don't even care if MLB does. It's just so annoying. I can't stand it. Some of these players I'm really starting to dislike with how needy they are with the money. And I think that, it's going to affect them so bad that they're only going to make $5 million. Anyway, if you want to really hear what I thought on it, watch yesterday's pod and in the podcast before that, and I ran through all of it. But now minor league players are getting cut, and now they might cut their salaries. I'm going to talk about that, though, later on in the show. So let's get into it. So the NBA playoffs, so let's get into our first topic here, the NBA playoffs. So there was multiple things that came out. A lot of, the NBA playoffs, it's going to be interesting what really happens, right? With all these sports leagues, with every sports league right now. It's kind of really up in the air. Is a sports league going to start in the playoffs? Is a sports league going to start back in the regular season? I said this when the NHL, I will admit, I did say this. I think if you watch back that pod, I did say this. The NBA will probably follow in the NHL's footsteps, meaning it probably will happen now, meaning like once the NHL did theirs, now the NBA will do theirs. I'm saying, since the NHL is starting in the playoffs, the NBA is going to start in the playoffs. So there was multiple reports that came out yesterday about GMs. All of the NBA teams' GMs have came together, and they have said, kind of like, the NBA is going to, if we're going to have a season, it's going to start back up in the playoffs, meaning no regular season games left, meaning teams like the Knicks, for example, a New York team. Teams like the Knicks, the Warriors. You won't see Stephen Curry probably step on the court again in 2020. For the 2020 season, I mean. Obviously, when the 2021 season starts, you'll see him there. But Warriors, teams like the Warriors, teams like the Knicks, teams like the Wizards, teams like the Hornets. Teams like them will probably not step on the court. There will be 16. There will be a total of. There will be multiple teams here. So it's a new format, a brand new format here. So it would be a little bit of a different format. So the East. So West could actually play East. So like the Lakers, for example, they would play the Nets. So West would play East. East could play East. For example, the Bucks are number 1 seed. They would play the 16-seeded Magic. So the East would play East, and West could play East. East could play West, vice versa. It ain't like East plays East, West plays West, and then in the finals, East plays West. It could really be anything, which I really think could be very interesting. It really could be interesting. You know, and not a lot of people bring this into to perspective here. Not a lot of people really talk about it. Not a lot of people really bring it into, kind of perspective of how it really hit. I'll tell you what, one thing, and it really does affect teams, and that's why I know I'm going off of the sport here. I know I'm going out of NBA. I'm going to NFL here. That's why the Ravens have the easiest schedule this year. Because they don't have to travel. They have, out of all their games, I think their furthest they have to travel is, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think they have a West Coast trip at all this season for the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, Baltimore is on the East Coast, so if you go out to the West Coast, it could really affect teams. What my point here is, you might know where my point's leading. So, the Baltimore Ravens are what people think, not easy by, team-wise, easy by, travel-wise. Their farthest they have to travel is nowhere close to some of these teams. And it really is true. You look at their schedule, they don't have to travel anywhere. They're in the distance of each where their teams are. There's some times they probably have to take the least amount of plane rides because they're so close. But what I'm trying to make my point here is how the West plays the East. It could make a difference because let's just say the Nets, right? They play the Brooklyn Nets. They're in Brooklyn, New York, right? So Brooklyn Nets have to play the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's just say the Nets beat the Lakers home, right? Now all of a sudden the Nets have to go out West Coast, and in Los Angeles that would be a 3-hour time difference, so 3-hour behind, which means it could really, really affect a player. It really could. That's why probably this year you'll see in the NFL teams like the San Francisco 49ers who are coming to play the Jets week 2 and are going to play the Giants week 3. That's why you see them. They'll probably stay East Coast instead of going out West Coast to come all the way back. It really could make the time change really can make a difference because if you put it in perspective, when the Nets on the East Coast it would be about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then on the West Coast it would be 10 o'clock when it's 1 o'clock on the East Coast. So it really could make a difference. It can make the players tired, and all of a sudden they've got to come back to the East Coast and play, and that could affect the Lakers, right? It really could make a difference. And I know this might be a little you might think, oh, what do you think? What are you crazy? It really does. It could affect teams. Comment down below. Do you think the jet lag and everything like that? Do you think that could affect teams? Not gonna lie, it really could. It really could. I don't know if it's gonna happen where it really is gonna affect the team, but it really could affect the team. That's why road trips are not fun for any sport league. They're not fun. I talked about this, I think, a week or two ago on a podcast. I don't know what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, I think I was talking when the Yankees, how they're going to play at their home stadium. You ask every single sports player, MLB, NHL, NFL, NBA, even going to soccer and all that, you ask them, would they rather play away or home? All of them are probably going to say home. If they say away, they would be a little outrageous. Right? Now, of course, you have your certain stadiums that you like to play at, right? Aaron Boone, the one time, he always says that he likes to play at Camden Yards in Baltimore. I've been there, very nice stadium. Same thing with Fenway, because they like the atmosphere, they like, the history of the stadium. I've been there to Fenway as well. Very nice stadium. A lot of good history, rich history. I took a tour there, very cool. But there's certain stadiums that people like to visit, right? Because they're cool, they're nice, the history, maybe you have a certain record there, maybe you have something to revenge there, something like that. But 90% of the time, 95, even 100% of the time, the players would rather play home, right? The East Division and the Western Conference would probably rather play teams in the Western Conference. The Lakers would rather play the Clippers of the world. They would rather play, the Warriors or somebody. Obviously the Warriors aren't in the playoffs. I'm just putting that out there, right? Western Western Conference would rather play Western Conference. I bet you Eastern Conference would probably rather play Eastern Conference. Now, maybe you could make a shakeup, right? Because you usually don't see an Eastern Conference team play a Western Conference team until the NBA Finals, in the playoffs at least. During the season, you'll have some of those those times where you'll see an Eastern Conference team. Same thing in the MLB, AL, you'll see play NL, interleague matchup, and then you'll see, for example, Yankees, Mets will play against each other, Subway Series, things like that. You'll also see teams like, you'll see in the NFL, you'll see like every year the AFC team plays an NFC, so they'll play a whole division. Last year, the Jets played the whole NFC East. So they played the Cowboys, the Redskins, the Giants, and the Eagles. They played all of them. This year, the Jets, I think we play, not 100% sure what the division, but usually every year it's like that. So, you'll get your interleague matchups, you'll get your team, but it could make a difference. It's all I'm trying to say. It could make a difference. We really could make a difference. Really could. Really could. But anyway, so we have so they obviously came out with it. They kind of came out with how it could really work, how the setup could work, what teams would play which teams, and things like that. So I have the teams here. I have what teams would play which team. So I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to win. I'll tell you who I'm going to win after this. So Bucks versus the number 1 seeded Bucks versus number 16 seeded Magic. And then the number 2 seeded Lakers would play the 15 seeded Nets. The number 3 seeded Raptors would play the 14 seeded Grizzlies. Number 4 seeded Clippers would play the number 13 seeded Mavericks. Number 15 seeded Celtics would play the number 12 seeded 76ers. Number 6 seeded Nuggets would play the number 11 seeded Pacers. Number 7 seed Jazz would play the number 10 seeded Rockets. Number 8 seeded Heat would play the number 9 seeded Thunder. So it really could get interesting here. It really could get interesting because you're taking your top 8 from the Western Conference and your top 8 from the Eastern Conference and put them in, right? So here's a couple Western Conference, Eastern Conference games. So, for example, the Raptors are in the Eastern Conference, the Grizzlies are in the Western Conference. That's West-East. Lakers, Western, Nets, Eastern. Any others? Jazz are Western, Rockets are, Heat. Oh yeah, there's an Eastern, Western. So there's multiple Eastern, Western Conference games, which could make a difference. But anyway, so now to the kind of this stat part. Who I think is going to win, which team I think is going to win, things like that. There are a couple matchups on here, and I said this before about the Jets, right? About the Jets schedule. There's always going to be a couple of matchups on the schedule that are going to really be kind of, debatable. They're going to be, up in the air type games. A couple of them with the Jets off the top of my head are the Broncos, the Browns. I'll tell you what, that Bills week 1, it could be a toss-up. Let's just say the Jets look really good in training camp. They're meshing well. Maybe the Jets maybe they just have a buzz around the locker room. That could make a difference. What's another toss-up? Oh yeah, the Patriots-Jets when the Jets are home. That's a toss-up. The Jets haven't beat the Patriots since 2015. My favorite Jets game I've ever seen. It was 2015. The Eric Decker overtime touchdown. They beat the Patriots. That was the season when 10-6 lost against the Bills the next week. We missed the playoffs. Todd Bowles' first year, right? There's always those couple of games that are going to be toss-ups, right? I could think, there's a couple of games, I'm sure, this year with the Yankees that could have been toss-ups, right? It's hard to go by that because they're not now, but before this virus all happened, they were planning on playing a 162-game season. You can't go off of the toss-ups on a 162-game season because, sure, a toss-up could probably be the Yankees-Rays. That could be a toss-up, right? Because Rays are good, Yankees are very good. Rays and Yankees always battle. All right, you can't really go off of that. That's why it's hard to make That's why it's hard to make season predictions for a 162-game season. Right? It's very difficult. So anyway, there's a couple of toss-ups on this list. But here I go. Here's who I think would win. Here's who I think would lose. Here we go. So, number 1, Bucks versus the number 16 seeded Magic. I have the Bucks winning. Right, the Bucks are debatable. They could be the best team in the league. They also could have one of the better players in the league right now in Giannis. They could have the MVP. I'll talk about that in the next segment. Right, Bucks, I say win. Magic, they're okay. Aaron Gordon, Nikola Vucevic, there's a couple of players on there. Gordon had a nice dunk contest, lost. I think he should have won. He's not great. He's not amazing. He's okay. This is a Magic team that barely squeaks in at the 8th seed. A 16-seeded team. They barely squeak in. They're honestly close to the Nets. They barely get in. And I have the Bucks winning. I have them winning big. Let's just say this would be a regular 7-game series. Bucks would probably maybe give them one, but they would probably either win 4-0 or 4-1. I'm going to skip the Lakers, or I'm going to give you the Lakers Nets. So, number 2, Lakers versus number 15-seeded Nets. You know me. I don't think the Nets are going anywhere in the playoffs. Lakers win this. Now, yes, you could go ahead and say, hey, Nets beat the Lakers the last time they played. Yeah, they did. Is that going to happen again? No. Right? No, it's not going to happen again. Right? I really feel like the Nets just aren't that team yet. Like, a squad of Dinwiddie, a squad of Garrett Temple, Taurean Prince, DeAndre Jordan. I just don't think we get it done. I listened to somebody yesterday talk about this thing too. You have KD, you have Kyrie, totally different ball game. You have KD and Kyrie healthy, playing amazing, totally different ball game. You have KD in general, but different ball game. Even Kyrie. Even if the Nets had Kyrie right now, and let's just say Kyrie was playing really good, they weren't able to snap in wins, I would probably still say the Lakers would win the series, but it would be closer. Lakers, I think, either sweep or give them one win, just like the Bucks. Number 3, Raptors versus number 14, Grizzlies. I could see this being a toss-up. I'm not going to put it as a toss-up. Raptors are a very good team. Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, Pascal Siakam has really came on the past couple of years from a no-name to being one of the better big men in the league. Fred VanVleet. Guys like that really are going to make a difference for this Raptors team. I see the Raptors winning this series. Now, the Grizzlies, do I think they're going to give them a run for their money? Jaren Jackson Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr. really having a good year. John Morant, really having a very fabulous year. Gasol, guys like that, Valanciunas, guys like that really can make a difference. I really see the Grizzlies, I really see the Grizzlies bringing them a run for their money, but I see the Raptors coming out of this. And I'm not saying they're going to lose. I don't think the Raptors are going to lose. I just think the Grizzlies are going to give them a run for their money. I could see somebody making the argument. I mean, the Grizzlies, they're not great, but they're barely squeaking into the playoffs. Yeah, but they got on paper, it's a very good team. John Morant arguably is the rookie of the year, and if Zion doesn't get another chance to play, RJ Barrett doesn't get another chance to play, and they go right to the playoffs, that means more of the spotlight's on John Morant to get noticed by voters, fans, and things like that. All of a sudden, you got yourself the rookie of the year, possibly. Number 4, Clippers. Raptors either win that 4-2, or I don't think it's going to go to 7. I think they'll win 4-2. I think the Grizzlies will bring. I don't think it's going to go to 7 games. I think they'll win 2. I think the Grizzlies are going to bring a run for their money. I don't think it's going to be. I think the games will be awfully close. I think they'll be pretty close. Anywhere between the 5-10 range. I don't think I'm not saying that just because they're gonna. I'm not saying that just because they're gonna give them a run for their money means that they're gonna bring it to 7 games. I mean, every game I think is gonna be a hard-fought battle because John Morant, very good player. Jaren Jackson Jr., very good player. They've got a good team. On paper, you can make the argument that's one of the better teams in the league. They just need a couple pieces here and there. It's a couple pieces. There's a lot of NBA teams I see in my book needing a couple pieces to really be great. I can name a couple right off my head, right? The Nuggets are a very good team. They can need like 1 or 2 more pieces maybe, and they could be great. Same thing with the Thunder. They have Chris Paul, 1 or 2 more pieces, maybe even 3. I don't mean they would be great, but they could be very good, right? Chris Paul's getting older, things like that. But they get 1 or 2 more players that really could help that team. I think they could really be good. There's a couple of teams on this list that I really believe, a couple teams in the NBA to begin with, that I really believe are close to something good. So I think the Raptors win that series, although I think it would be awfully close. Number 4, the Clippers versus number 16, Mavericks. Clippers, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Montrezl Harrell, guys like that, really going to help out this team. Pat Bev, guys like that I really see helping out this team. I think the Clippers will win this. Now, yes, the Mavericks have Luka Doncic. Yes, the Mavericks have Kristaps Porzingis. Yes, the Mavericks have all those guys. right? Yes, the Mavericks have the J.J. Bareas of the world, right? They have those guys. But, Luka, he's a very good player. I have him on fantasy. I'll tell you what, Luka's been one of the best players I could have drafted. I drafted him late, too. In my fantasy league, nobody really picked him up. I drafted him very late. I'll tell you what, man, he's been big. Here's my problem with Luka. He's had ankle problems throughout the year. He's been out multiple times with the ankle. Here's my one worry. Clippers, Mavericks. Game 1 of the series, Luka cuts to go to the basket in an odd fashion. All of a sudden, your season's completely done, right? Take Luka out of that lineup, that is not the same Mavericks team. Not the same Mavericks team. Same thing with the Warriors. Same thing with the Lakers. Lakers last year, for example. This year, Lakers without LeBron, he hasn't missed really many games. But, Lakers, LeBron had the hamstring things, or groin, I think, even what it was. You just gotta really be careful with Luka. Right, you gotta watch out for that ankle injury, right? Because the Clippers are a team that is not gonna slow down. And if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard is out because of load management, if they are healthy, if the Luka and them are healthy, I could see this being a tough series. But I'm just a little worried by Luka's ankle. I have the Clippers winning this series. Number 5, Celtics versus the number 12, 76ers. I see this being a complete toss-up. I have the Celtics winning just because if Jason Tatum plays like he has in a couple of the games this season, he is scary. That is not a fun team to go up against. If Jason Tatum is on, you better watch out. Might as well just leave the arena if Jason Tatum's on, because Jason Tatum is a very good player. Very good player. Unreal. He is the guy just got raw talent. I think Jason Tatum's a very good player. He's on. 76ers got no shot. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, I'm sorry, you got no shot. Jason Tatum's playing okay. All of a sudden, it's okay, right? All of a sudden, things are, Jason Tatum's playing okay, right? This Celtics team's dodging a couple bullets. All of a sudden, 76ers could come around. 76ers have a lot of talent. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, guys like that. A lot of talent. Jason Tatum, though, he could give you the 1-2 Mayweather 3 for McGregor in a second. Really true. Jason Tatum could give you the 1-2 Mayweather 3 for McGregor in a matter of seconds. I'll tell you that for sure. Jason Tatum could knock you out easily, just by himself. Jason Tatum's a very good player. Very good. That's why if I see Jason Tatum putting up 25 this year, 25-30 a night, those 76ers fans, you better shield your eyes from that TV. Jason Tatum's okay, plays normal, 15, 20 points a game. 76ers fans, you can take your hands off your eyes, right? Just be mindful of that. There's a little guy to call Jason Tatum, very good player. Just got to watch out. Number 6, Denver Nuggets versus the number 11 Pacers. This, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. I just don't see the Pacers really winning this series. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it is. I just don't see them winning the series. I see Denver Nuggets and Jokic and Jamal Murray and those guys like that just taking over. I see this could be an easily sweep. I really can. I think the Pacers are okay. I think they're a decent team, right? But I still see I don't know what it is. I just see the Nuggets winning this. I saw this on paper. When I saw this first, I was like, okay, Nuggets got this game. Mark my word. Pacers come in. Let's just say this is how the playoff pans out. Let's just say this is how it. Pacers come in, they sweep them. You can go back to this podcast. And I just don't see the Pacers winning. I see the Nuggets winning. I don't know what it is. Jokic, Jamal Murray give me a different feeling. I see the Nuggets win this. Number 7, Utah Jazz. Number 10, Rockets. I think this is a complete toss-up. If James Harden and Russell Westbrook play good, they share the ball to other guys, they get the ball to other players. James Harden is not missing 15 out of his, not missing 13 out of his 50, or not missing 17 out of his 23 pointers. Then I think they could win. Russell Westbrook's not really being a ball. Let's just say they're both sharing the ball, right? Not passing it back to each other like, oh, here, James Harden, back to Westbrook, go. Now, I'm going to be the announcer for a second for the Rockets, okay? I'm going to be the announcer, okay? All right, and they start the game. James Harden takes the ball up, passes to Westbrook. Westbrook dribbles in a little bit, asks for a screen from Harden. Oh, Harden's going to drop out. Get the ball. Oh, Harden dribbling through the legs. Oh, he's going to step back. Oh, there it is. Now, they get the rebound on the defensive end. Harden's got the ball, passes to Westbrook. Westbrook's decided to pass it back to Harden. Harden's going to dribble a little bit more. Going to give it back to Westbrook. Westbrook's going to drive, kick it back out to Harden. Harden dribbles a little bit, shoots the three. If it is that, Jazz win. Here's why I think it could be a toss-up. Jazz, I talked about this the other day on my pod. If the Jazz lost Bojan Bogdanovic, okay, one of their big scorers, putting up 20 a night, okay, they still have Donovan Mitchell, they still have Rudy Gobert, I know, but Bojan Bogdanovic was a very good player. Very good. And you can agree, because not the spotlight was on Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Bojan Bogdanovic didn't get much of the spotlight. He got the old light that needs new light bulbs. He got the old one. They got the LEDs on them. He got the old one. I think the Rockets, if they share the ball, James Harden not missing 17 of his 23s he takes, I think the Rockets could win this series very easily. I think they really could. I don't think it's going to be close. It could be a close series. I think it's going to be a blowout in one or other. I think the Jazz are just going to come in and stomp on the Rockets, and James Harden and Russell Westbrook are just not going to shoot high. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 because James Harden's like that. He's very inconsistent, right? Inconsistent. I have him in fantasy. He was my first overall pick. I had the first pick in the draft. I picked James Harden. He's a very good player. But let me mind you, he's very inconsistent. He'll go one game where he'll make 9 out of his 23s, and the next game he'll make 2 out of his 20, right? That's why I think this could be a blowout. I think if it's going to be a blowout, it's going to be in the Jazz favor. Because I think if the Rockets come in here and they're not shooting well, Westbrook and James Harden are just passing back to each other, it could get ugly fast. It could really get ugly fast. So I have the Jazz and the Rockets really being a toss-up. Jazz may be a little bit of the edge here, though. I don't know. Rockets can very easily win. Number 8, Heat versus the number 9, Thunder. This, again, is a toss-up to me. Here's my reasoning. The Heat with Jimmy Butler, guys like that, very good. Bam Adebayo, very, very, very good. Teams like the Thunder, Steven Adams, CP3, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, guys like that really could help. I do see the Heat winning this series. I think it could be a toss-up. CP3 is getting older. He's very good. This Thunder team, like I said, needs 1 or 2 more pieces, and they could really be a quality team. Really be very good. I mean, not quality because they are a good team, but really be to the point where not final contenders, but they could make a run for it. They could definitely make a run for it. CP3 is getting older. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is very good. Steven Adams, good. They're good. They're not great. They're not amazing. The Heat are one of the better teams in the league right now. I say the Heat win the series. I could very well see Jimmy Butler don't play good. Bam Adebayo has an alright series. I could very well see the Thunder winning this. Very well. I think it would be a decent series. Maybe 4-2. 4-2, something like that. I think it'll be close. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout. I think it'll be close. But that's what I got for the NBA playoffs. Like I said, it really is a toss-up. The Nets are a team that really going to be interesting. The Nets, like I said, I don't think they're going to win it this season. Like I said, KD and Kyrie are healthy next year. Sign me up to bet on the Nets to win it. But I think the Nets could really be finals contenders if KD. I mean, you can make the argument you have the 2 top 10 players in the league right now on your team. Like, what else has to be really said about that? They're finals contenders next year, the Nets, especially if they get Bradley Beal. If they get Bradley Beal, I'm not going to lie, I really could see the Nets winning the finals. Comment down below. Could you see the Nets winning the finals if they get Bradley Beal, or even if it's just a healthy KD and Kyrie? So now we move in here to LeBron James and the Giannis, kind of debate, debacle, whatever you want to say. So, Giannis and LeBron right now it's going to get very interesting. It's going to get very interesting. I see it being interesting here. It's not really a debacle, but it's a, I just want to say it's difficult for me to pick who I think is going to do it. So, alright, so I really like this feature. So I look up the stats and everything on NBA.com/stats. It's awesome. I really like this feature. So what you can do is you can actually compare the players. So you can compare the players. So you can go LeBron James and then put this other player in and put Giannis in, and it shows you their whole regular season stats. So you could show their chart, and you could show like this is their whole stats. So it shows you whose favorite is in, whose favorite's in. So it's definitely interesting. I like it a lot. A report just came out by ESPN. A report just came out. Will the NBA get Zion to the playoffs? Brian Windhorst says teams are paranoid that the league is trying to ensure the Pelicans are involved. That I don't like. I like Zion and everything, but come on, you got to play fair, man. The teams that, because now you could leave a team that's really deserved to make. Like I don't like that. Anyway. LeBron, Giannis, MVP. So, LeBron and Giannis, it's been the talk all year, right? Giannis and the MVP, Giannis MVP, Giannis MVP, Giannis MVP, LeBron MVP, LeBron MVP. You've heard MVP all year, right? I don't know if it's just me, I find the MVP is talked a lot more in NBA, in basketball, I meant, than it is in any other sport, right? NFL talks about their MVP. MLB, you don't hear much about the MVP. You know what you hear about? You hear a lot about the Cy Young. You hear a lot about the Cy Young. AL MVP and NL MVP. You don't hear too much about that. You hear a ton about the Cy Young. That's what you hear. Cy Young and if there's going to be a Triple Crown winner. That's what you hear. You really talk about the Cy Young. Cy Young's a big thing. AL MVP, NL MVP is okay. NFL, it's a big deal. NFL is a big deal. Rookie of the Year is also big in the NFL. Rookie of the Year offense, Rookie of the Year defense. Walter Payton Man of the Year is very big in the NFL. Things like that. It's a big deal, but I feel like in the NBA, comment down below if you agree with me. I feel like in the NBA, that's mostly what they talk about. All season long is about the MVP. From day one, from the first game of the NBA season, there's already people talking, or NBA season, there's already people talking about the MVP. I feel like the MVP is mainly talked about in basketball. I don't know why it is. I feel like the MVP is not overrated in basketball. I think a lot of people talk about it, and there's it's very good to win the MVP, but I think it's just I don't know. It's just it gets to the point sometimes where, all right, we get it. You like to talk about the MVP. I haven't talked about the MVP once, really, at all, because like I said, I think it's very hard to choose your MVP because there's so many different types of MVPs. There's so many different, there's an MVP of overall player, and you could have the MVP of defense, you could have the MVP of offense, you could have the MVP, right? Giannis, easily one of the best defensive players in the league right now, right? He's very good, right? Look at his stats, he's pretty good, right? LeBron, very good as well, right? Best offensive player, but you could have the MVP of three-point shooting, right? Trae Young, Damian Lillard, they're all up there, right? You could have the MVP of, you could have like I said, I talk about this all-time teams. You could have the all-time team. You could have the all-time pitchers. You could break it down. All-time winners, all-time defenders, all-time offensive guys, all-time coaches, all-time this. You could break it down into so many different categories. Same thing with the MVP. Now that's why the NFL is Defensive Players of the Year, Offensive Players of the Year, Rookie of the Year for offense and defense, guys like that. But the NBA, it's really MVP. It could mean a whole lot of different things. MVP Most Valuable Player means all around the best player. But you could really break it down to who's the best player in the league. You can really break it down. You can definitely break it down. I will admit, you really can. if you really break down the numbers and everything, you really break it down, find each little category, you can have an MVP for almost everything, right? So anyway, so I'm going to really I'm not going to give you really who I think should win an MVP, because I will, but I just don't know how I feel about it, right? I'm not 100%. I think Giannis is a very good player. Don't get me wrong, a great player. I think LeBron is an amazing player. You know me, second best player of all time. Here's my thing with LeBron that makes me more fascinating. This guy's he's doing it. He's putting up these MVP numbers, and he's getting old. He's in his mid to late 30s. Giannis is young. He's putting up these numbers. LeBron is putting up these younger numbers, and he's one of the older NBA players right now. Like, he's at the, you can kind of say, not really tail end, because I shouldn't say the tail end, because, like, you know, he's still got time with the Lakers. I'm sure he'll probably get picked up by another team, but he's to the point of his career. He's probably got not too much left. I would say maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe 3-4 years left. He did say he wants to play with Bronny James, but that's going to be a while. That's going to at least be another 4 or 5 years. Right? He did say that. And Bronny's got to get picked up by the team he's on. So, I have an odd feeling the NBA would make that happen. I don't know if it's just me, but either whatever team's LeBron on, if Bronny gets drafted by another team, I have an odd feeling that team's going to make a hard, very, because you can imagine Bronny could definitely be the number 1 pick in 4 years from now. You can definitely see that. I can see it happening anyway. You could definitely see it. But, I mean, you got to really think about it, right? You know, who knows if LeBron's going to still be in the league, right? It really is interesting. But anyway, so the NBA, everybody talks about the MVP. So I'm going to give you who I think should win MVP, but, right, I'm not saying who I don't think is, I already know who I think should win the MVP, but I'm not saying that I wouldn't be surprised, that I wouldn't say that this other person shouldn't win. But anyway, so let's compare stats. LeBron, 7.9 rebounds per game, rounded up to 8. Giannis, 13.7. This is understandable that Giannis beats him in this category. I mean, come on. Really? Like, Giannis is a big man. He's just supposed to get rebounds, right? If it's going to happen. It's how it is. Here are the assists. 10.6 for LeBron, 5.8 for Giannis. LeBron beats him in this category. LeBron, very good assist man. That's what I love about LeBron. That's what I really like about him. He can put up 25 a night. He can also get you assists, right? That's what I really like about him. He can share the ball. And that's what I found so fascinating about him in Cleveland. Because Cleveland, he had barely anybody to pass to because they were not that his players around him, not very good. He was still able to put up big numbers on the assist game and still put up. That's what I found so fascinating. Because you know what LeBron does? LeBron is very good at finding the open guy. He doesn't force passes. He knows, LeBron's been playing in the league so long, it's understandable. He can read defenses. He can tell, this guy's going to do this guy's going to do this, whatever. 360, alley-oop, dunk. It's, things like that. He can read that. And I believe LeBron, that's what makes him such a good passer, what makes him such a good assist guy. He can look through the defenses. He could read. He could see where this guy's going. He almost knows the defender's next move. And that's why, no matter what team he's really playing on, he can get it to his teammates. 1.2 assists, or 1.2 steals for LeBron, 1 for Giannis. You really can't compare this. I'm going to say LeBron. LeBron obviously beats him in this category. You can't really compare it, though. You just can't. It's hard because it's steals, and it's only 1.2, and he has 1. So it's only 0.2 off. But LeBron still, I guess, beats him in this category. Blocks, 0.5 for LeBron. You probably should round that up to about 1 block, and then 1 block for Giannis. That would be about a tie. Even though it's 0.5, you can round it up. It really doesn't really matter. It's almost the same thing. It would be almost a tie here. It would almost be a tie here. And then points per game, 25.7, 29.6 for Giannis. He beats him in that category. Now, back to the block thing. Giannis is supposed to get the blocks, right? He's the big guy. Yeah, LeBron is, but what I like about LeBron, he can really get chased down blocks. Giannis stands in the paint and gets blocks. LeBron can chase down and get blocks. So I find so good about LeBron. LeBron can really get some good blocks. LeBron's more the offensive guy. He can get defensive plays. That's what I like about him. He's a good defender. That's why I like LeBron. He's a very good defender. He's Stephen Curry, not a great defender. James Harden, not a great defender. Guys like that. Guys that put up a lot of scoring. Guys that are very good players. Usually the guys in the MVP race, they ain't good defenders. That's why I like this MVP race. You have Giannis, a very good defender, and you have LeBron, a good defender. You also have a LeBron who can share the ball. You have Giannis who can get steals. You have Giannis who can get blocks. That's why I like this. I like the NBA. The one thing that problems with the NBA a little bit is the defense, right? Also the fouls. There's some baby foul calls. Babies. There's some foul calls that shouldn't be. 25.7 points per game. I know I already read this. 25.7 for LeBron. 29.6 for 26 for LeBron. 30 for about Giannis. Rounded up for Giannis. Like I said, Giannis beats him in this category. But another thing here, right? Giannis is so big, gets the ball in the paint, puts it up. Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton, guys like that. They're really, really able to share the ball, get him the ball, right? Things like that. Obviously, he's still, Giannis is getting the big points because he's in the paint, he's tall, and I'm not mad about that. That's good. You need a big man. Every team needs a big man. That's been the problem with the Nets these past couple years. They haven't really had that second big man. They had Brick Lopez, or whatever you want to call him, Brook Lopez. They had Jared Allen last year, but you need more than just that, right? You need more. So they went out, got DeAndre Jordan, who's very good. They now have Jared Allen. Now you have two very quality centers. Now Brook Lopez is on the Bucks, and they have Giannis. You need big men. Big men are huge. A lot of people think, you're casual NBA fan. Not even just NBA. I shouldn't say that. Fans that really only care about the 3-point, you're casual with them would be like, oh, let's look at this roster. Oh, they have Stephen Curry. They're great. Right? You got to look at the big man. You got to look at the other guys. You got to look at the defenders. You got to look at the big men that stand in the paint, get the ball, and just put it up for layups. You can't just look at the 3-point shooters. You can't look at the guy that's shooting 35% from 3-point and say, oh my gosh, he's unreal. You can't look at that. You got to look at the other stuff. That's what I like about this MVP race. You got a good defender, you got two good defenders, and you got two guys that can light it up on the offensive end. That's what I like. James Harden, when he won MVP, you got a guy that can light it up on the offensive end. You got a guy that doesn't know how to play defense. Right? Things like that. That's what I like. Right? I like to see defense in the NBA. That's why I like college a lot, because there's defense. NBA, defense don't happen too much. Defense happens under 2 minutes. A lot of threes. Although I have to admit, there's been a couple of nice defensive plays this year. So, head-to-head on the court. So, LeBron James has played 27.6 minutes against him. 22.5 points per game, 7 field goals made, field goals attempted, blah, 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 48.3% field goal percent, very good. 40% 3-point. Here we go. So overall, LeBron this season has played 60 games, Giannis 57. LeBron's putting up 34.9 minutes a game, that's 35. Giannis is putting up 31, 30.9, rounded up. 25.7 points for LeBron, 29.6 for Giannis. 9.8 field goals made for LeBron, 10.9 field goals made for Giannis. Field goals attempted, 19.6, 20 for Giannis. So rounded up, 20 for both of them about. Field goal percentage, 49.8 for LeBron, that's 50, 54.7, 55 around there for Giannis. 2.2 three-pointers made, 1.5 Giannis. You can't even compare the stats. Field goals attempted through 6.4, 34.9 three-point percentage for LeBron, rounded up to 35. Then you got 31 for Giannis. 70% from free throw line for LeBron, 63 for Giannis. Giannis can't shoot threes. He's not a great three-point shooter, which is normal, right? He's a big man. You're not supposed to, right? The field goal percentage, too, for LeBron's 50%, which is very good. The Giannis is 55, rounded up from 54.7 to 55. You can round it up. Giannis is very good, too. Here's what fascinates me. LeBron shoots threes, too. He can drive. He can get layups. He's mid-range. Giannis is shooting 55%, and he's inside. And that's a very good percentage. But here's the thing. Right? LeBron is shooting threes. He's shooting mid-range. He's shooting long twos. He's shooting layups. He's driving and dunking. He ain't standing in the paint the whole game, which, like I said, I'm not mad at. What just fascinates me about LeBron is he's shooting 50%, almost to the point where Giannis is standing in the paint. Giannis, there's been a couple games he's shot high percentages. So here we go. That's really a breaking stat for me and LeBron. Like 50%, and he's an all-around player, right? So, So here we go. Here's who I think should win MVP. Like I said, a very, very hard decision for me to make. A very difficult one. Because I don't like to talk about MVPs that much. I don't like to talk about all-time players too. It's difficult. Because so many people have so many strong opinions. Like, how dare you do this? How dare you do that? Like, just take a breather. Comment down below who you think should win MVP. Here is my MVP. A breaking point stat for me was the field goal percentage. Okay? Here's my MVP. Here's why I think he should win MVP. Now, I'm not saying, the guy that I'm not going to say, I would be fine with him winning MVP. I think he should win MVP as well. But who I think has the slight edge, who I think should win it a little bit more, everybody drum roll, LeBron James. I think LeBron should be the MVP of the 2020 season. Here's my reasoning, okay? The guy's field goal percentage is through the roof, very good. The guy is putting up these numbers at an older age. The guy can share the ball to teammates besides AD. He can get him to Rajon Rondo. He can get him to Alex Caruso. He can get him to those guys. He can get him to KCP. He can get him to JaVale McGee. He can get him to Kyle Kuzma, right? He's getting to the guys that are okay, right? JaVale McGee's okay. He's improved. Rajon Rondo, okay. KCP, Kadavius Caldwell-Pope, he's pretty good. He's not great. Alex Caruso, he's a household name. He's a pretty big name in the NBA, but just he can share the ball to guys that aren't that great. That's what I find so fascinating. Now, don't get me wrong. Giannis wins MVP. I think he could deserve it. He deserves the MVP. Giannis deserves the MVP. So does LeBron deserve the MVP. Both of these guys, you could split the MVP in half and give them. But the reason I have LeBron is because, here's my three reasonings. His age. He's doing it at this old of age. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean and say, oh, he's so old. He's still doing it. I'm just saying, he's older. He's older for an NBA, and I'm giving him a compliment. This is crazy. How he's still doing it, and he's older now, right? His age, and he's still putting it up. He's able to get assists to some of the players on the Lakers that aren't that great, and he's still able to find them openings, right? And his defense and his offense. That's 4 almost. His defense is very good. This is the first time, like I said, in a while, you'll see an MVP race that you have a defender. James Harden, when he won. Big offensive. Lit it up on the offensive end. Defensive end, almost like he just sat on the bench and just waited till the play was over, and then he went back on offense. Right? That's what I like about LeBron. He can light it up on both ends. Light it up. And you're also talking about the second best player of all time. You're talking about the second best player of all time right here, in my opinion. Not the best. MJ still holds it above him. Not the best. Second best of all time. So, LeBron James, I think, should win MVP. Should be the MVP. Like I said, though, Giannis, if he wins it, I'm not going to be mad. I think if he wins it, Giannis is putting up MVP numbers. I think it's one of the toughest years to really pick it, because Giannis is so good, LeBron's so good, they're good at defense, they're good at offense, they're good at mostly everything. They're all-around good players. But if I had to choose, LeBron. So now we move into the minor league players getting cut, and this really infuriates me here. This really does. I like I said, I'm not happy with how the MLB has been right now. I'm really not. I'm not happy with how the MLB's doing this whole situation, acting up like this. All right, perfect. So here we go. So the MLB, they're cutting these MLB minor league players. Now, I've talked about this in the past. Yesterday, 2 days ago, the 28th, the 29th, things like that. I've talked about it. How things, the whole MLB situation. I've talked about it. So, here's my thing. So, the MLB is not coming to an agreement with the players. The players aren't coming in agreement with the MLB because of the money. The money. So, somebody actually, and I agree with this person, somebody actually yesterday commented down below, and they did it the other day as well, and I agree with this person. They said they should call up the minor league players if these MLB players go on strike, which I agree with. I will admit I agree with. If these MLB players don't want to play, you should bring up the minor league players and let these MLB players sit out and not play until they get paid. They could sit out all they want. Here's my whole thing with the MLB players before I get into the whole minor league situation. This kind of actually is kind of on topic though. Here's my whole thing with the MLB players, right? One, if they can't come to an agreement, they shouldn't get paid at all this year because they're not earning it. They're not playing. So they shouldn't get paid. So it's either you get paid $5 million this year or you don't get paid at all. And I won't be mad if you don't get paid this year because you're the one that's pausing it. You guys, not the viewers, I'm pointing at you guys, but the MLB players. It's them that is causing this. It's them. It ain't the fans, it ain't the player, it ain't the coaches. It's the owners that came to the agreement. The owners said, okay, let's do this. Let's fire this season back up. Let's get it going. Come to the MLB Players Association. We want the money? Wait. The money first. Right? So anyway. So now, minor league MLB teams are releasing hundreds of minor leaguers. Here are 3 factors that lead to massive cuts. So, Major League Baseball rosters may be frozen due to the novel coronavirus delaying the season, but that isn't stopping organizations from trimming their ranks on the minor league side. Beginning this week and extending through next week, teams are collectively expected to release hundreds of minor leaguers, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan, with most organizations cutting somewhere between 30 to 50 players. In a typical year, teams release a dozen or more players heading into the season, as means clearing space and giving those who waived chance to latch on elsewhere. To say the least, this has not been a typical year. The spread of COVID-19 caused the league to shut down weeks before the start of the season, leaving teams with a larger roster, and now they otherwise had this point this year. Still, there are other circumstances behind these players' roster cuts. Here are 3 contributing factors to know about and how they're likely to affect the future of minor league baseball. There likely won't be a MILB season. So MILB, Minor League Baseball. Okay, that's what it stands for. So there won't likely be a Minor League Baseball season. We may as well start with the obvious point, right? There's a little to no chance minor league season is taking place this year. Don't get us wrong. Teams might have a modified instructional leader later in the league later in the year, but that's the extent of it. Some clubs have already players knowing that teams could make more cuts than usual without fear that they have had too many players to field too less players to field full rosters across the affiliates. Speaking of which, 2, the contract issues. So here we go. So Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to overhaul the minors by contracting affiliates and reducing the amount of rosters held with team non-prospects. At this point, that means deemed assets would be cleared from the deck. This would point the pandemic serving as the line of between the minor leaguers and Manfred's minor league system. A cost-cutting move without the same PR hit. Earlier this week, Oakland Athletics announced they would stop paying their minor league players their weekly $400. They took a massive and rightful public relations backlash for it too. With teams grouping together to release players, they'll get rid of financial allegations and smarter PR hit. The entire situation is horrid for the released players as they lose their source of media income during a pandemic and a minimum chance of latching on elsewhere. It stands to reasons some of these players will have to abandon their baseball dreams in order to seek gainful employment during these tough times. That, when I was reading this before, that really, that's bad. Right? That's bad. It stands to reason some of these players will have to abandon their baseball dreams in order to seek gainful employment during these tough times. They're going to cut their salaries. They're going to do all of that. And these minor league players, their contracts ain't big. And I actually agree. These minor league players should not get their salaries cut. I agree with the MLB players getting their salaries cut. Here's my reasoning. You know, half these MLB players, we're not talking just AAA. We're talking AA, single A, even AAA we're talking about. Single A, rookie A-ball. Those guys are barely getting paid. You know, a lot of them, they work side jobs. They during the baseball season, they obviously do baseball, and then during the off season, they'll either work at a baseball complex, or they'll work at a baseball training facility or whatever. They work other jobs because they don't get paid that much. That's why if you go to a minor league game, you know how players toss balls up to the fans and stuff. You go to a minor league game, you don't see that many because the budget's lower, much lower. I think these players should not be getting their pay cuts. Some of these guys, they get their pay cut, they might only make $100,000 this year, right? $100,000. And these MLB players are complaining about $5 million. These guys have to work other jobs. They're not just playing baseball. They have to work other jobs, right? You get into the independent leagues and everything like that, they have to work other jobs. It's true. It's very true. You can't live off of only $100,000 a year. You really can't. They have to work other jobs, side jobs. It's true. It's very true. Add to the thin minor league system, a large chunk of the players who have their will be released played a final meaningful game last August without knowing it. So, they'll play their final game in August without knowing it. So, it was, yeah. So, like I said, it's really frustrating me how, they're really, they're ruining these players. They're ruining them. Because they're gonna go slim down their contracts. They're gonna do this about them. They're gonna do all that, but they ain't gonna do. It's ridiculous. The MLB. I was telling somebody earlier, I would love to see MLB back, but I'm so mad. I kind of want just to see that. I hope this. I don't want this to happen. But if the season doesn't come back, those MLB players, they better not get paid. They better not. They better not, because they could have the money right now. They should have the money. They could have their $5 million this year if they would pay. But since they're taking forever, I would just, those MLB players, it's going to really affect my life only making $5 million. I talked about this yesterday. I don't know why I'm getting talk about it so much, but it just really makes me angry. Really does. Of how these MLB players are so selfish. You know those guys right now. You know the people out there. They don't even have jobs. They need to go to these food banks and get food. And these guys are complaining they're only going to make $5 million this year. They're out of their minds. And now they're going to cut these the minor league players. Now they're going to cut their salaries. So then they have to go work 2 jobs now instead of 1. And they're going to let these MLB players just get their way again. I don't know, man. That's what I got. Oh, wow. Long pod today. That's what I got, though, for the minor league, baseball in general, NBA playoffs, LeBron, and baseball. 3 comments I want you to comment down below. Do you think the NBA playoffs is a good idea, that format? Who do you think will win the games? LeBron, Giannis, who do you think will win MVP? And minor league players, do you agree with them getting cut? Do you agree with their salaries? Them getting cut? Do you agree with their salaries kind of getting cut in half? And what do you think about the whole MLB situation? Those are 3 comments I would like you to comment down below. That will do it for this week of podcast. You all know I don't do podcasts over the weekends. I take breaks. I do them Monday through Friday, so you all know no podcast over the weekend. Hopefully everybody enjoys their weekend, has a good rest of the day today, and enjoys their weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.